Good afternoon. Welcome to the St. Martin Parish Council Joint Committee meeting of Tuesday, February 24th at 4:30 in the Carol J. Fugely Meeting Room of the St. Martin Parish Government Annex Building. Please silence all cell phones, remove all hats. The public may comment upon any item which requires a vote by the St. Martin Parish Council. We ask that you fill out a request to speak form located in the back of the room, bring it to the deputy, and he'll bring it to me. I would like to call the meeting to order with a prayer led by Council Clerk Ms. Brooke Thibodeau.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of community. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Porter, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, everyone's present.
Item 1, St. Martin Parish Director of Tourism, Lacey Laperouse, to give a presentation on tourism operations.
Ms. Laperouse?
I wrote a script so I can stay on task. Because y'all will be here till 10 o'clock. Oh. So I got you, Tangi.
No, we won't.
Well, I hear Smita has a lengthy one, so I'm gonna give my time to her. Good evening. I'm proud to share a snapshot of what the St. Martin Parish Tourism Commission accomplished in 2025 and how tourism continues to generate real economic impact for our parish. Tourism is not just about visitors, it's about jobs, local businesses, cultural preservation, and community pride. And 2025 was a very strong year for all of that. Our mission remains clear: to promote St. Martin Parish's culture, history, and natural beauty while supporting sustainable tourism that benefits our local economy and preserves our heritage. This work is guided by the St. Martin Parish Tourism Commission, whose members meet monthly to review policy, budgets, marketing initiatives, and event support. Our commissioners are Morel Thibodeau, who's in the audience, Ms. Morel Thibodeau, Tanya Pelche, Christine Friedman, Carol Lawson, Carlos Knott, Fred Foti Jr., who's also in the audience. And if you're looking at the picture up there, he's not pictured, but our newest member is Greg Domain. Their leadership and support play a critical role in the success of our tourism efforts. Our tourism department staff includes myself, Lacey Laperouse, Executive Director, Megan LeBlanc, Assistant Director, sitting in the audience, and Brandy Obey, Social Media and Special Projects Manager, also sitting in the audience. Together, we manage marketing, media relations, sales, visitor services, and special projects year-round to keep St. Martin Parish competitive and visible at the local, national, and international level. In 2025, we collected $595,231 in occupancy tax. This represents a 109% increase and translates to an estimated $12 to $15 million in lodging revenue. When you look at total visitor spending, including dining, shopping, attractions, and events, that impact is conservatively estimated between $36 million and $75 million flowing directly into the parish economy. These numbers matter because tourism dollars circulate locally and support businesses, employees, and infrastructure without increasing the tax burden on residents. To drive that impact, we invested $170,000 in tourism marketing across more than 30 outlets. Our campaigns included digital and print advertising, culinary and accommodations marketing, festival and event promotion, outdoor and sponsorship campaigns. Based on visitor spending, that investment generated a return of $212 to $441 for every dollar spent. That's not just good marketing, that's strong fiscal stewardship. Our website, www.cajuncountry.org, continues to be a key gateway to the parish, averaging over 2,500 page views every 7 days with growing engagement. We saw a 32.7% increase in users year over year, with visitors coming not just from Louisiana and Texas, but internationally from places like France, Canada, China, and Singapore. Our visitor centers welcomed 96,000 guests, providing direct information and personal connections to our communities. In 2025, our trade and media efforts were highly intentional. We focus on expos, festivals, and trade markets that align directly with St. Martin Parish's strengths: our music, culinary, culture, outdoor recreation, and authentic Cajun and Creole experiences. We participated in targeted markets such as music festivals, RV expos, culinary campaigns, and both domestic and international sales and media missions. These included FRVA Expo, Gator by the Bay Festival, Southeast Tourism Society Spotlight, Canada Sales and Media Missions, Louisiana Culinary Trails, and Travel South International. These markets allow us to connect directly with travel operators, media, and tour planners who are already selling or looking to sell destinations like ours. One major highlight was an invitation through the Louisiana Lieutenant Governor's Office to attend IFTM Top Resa in Paris last September. I was the only destination from Louisiana represented and held over 27 one-on-one appointments with international travel operators. This exposure positioned St. Martin Parish directly in front of the French market, where cultural and culinary tourism strongly align with who we are. These efforts continue to build long-term relationships, increase international awareness, and drive visitors who stay long and spend more in our communities. We were also honored to receive multiple recognitions, including Camp Margaritaville Breaux Bridge being named Accommodation of the Year, staff and board leadership recognized at the state level, and our parish being consistently featured among Louisiana's most welcoming and desirable destinations. We unveiled 2 murals, one in St. Martinville and one in Breaux Bridge, celebrated 30 years of St. Martin Parish Tourism Commission, and I received the Pelican of Distinction Award by the Lieutenant Governor. In addition to trade and media outreach, we hosted several high-impact familiarization tours and special events designed to immerse journalists and travel professionals in the authentic St. Martin Parish experience. One standout was hosting 9 journalists during the International Food, Wine, and Travel Writers Conference. After a full day of exploring the parish through experiences like Zydeco breakfast and swamp tours, we closed their visit with an evening that truly reflected our culture. Guests enjoyed cuisine prepared by Parks resident and James Beard nominee Madonna Broussard, along with award-winning spirits from Jean-Baptiste Rum and Bayou Brewing beer samples poured by Louisiana seafood king himself, Carlos Knott. The evening was brought to life with music from Grammy-nominated and award-winning musicians Bo Thomas and Yvette Landry. Guests also experienced hands-on cultural demonstrations as Brandy Obey showed how a traditional tifa, or Cajun triangle, is made, creating a memorable and personable connection to our heritage. From this single experience, multiple stories have already appeared or are scheduled to appear in major outlets, including National Geographic and Follow the Piper, providing lasting global exposure for St. Martin Parish. We also hosted our first ever educational seminar for local tourism partners, bringing together travel industry experts from Louisiana Office of Tourism, Louisiana Travel Association, Tourism Tactics by TICO, Receptive Operator Thomas Ray, and along with our staff. The goal was to equip our partners with practical tools and strategies to help them reach more visitors and convert interest into overnight stays. Looking forward, 2026 is already shaping up to be an exciting year. We have a new 45-page visitor guide coming this fall, high-quality promotional videos launching later this year, a parish-wide public art project with spoonbills arriving soon, continued national and international sales mission, and major media exposure through LPB's LA 64. Tourism is one of St. Martin Parish's strongest economic drivers, and 2025 proved that strategic marketing, partnerships, and cultural authenticity work. Thank you for your continued support of tourism and for allowing us to keep sharing the story of St. Martin Parish around the world. That is it.
Any comments, questions from council? You do, Ms. Jean-Baptiste?
Yeah, I just want to say, thank you, Lacey. I know, a couple of weeks ago, when there were some different activities for the Super Bowl, I reached out to you on a Sunday because we had some residents that was disappointed that they didn't get advertisement. But through Lacey taking time on a Sunday, I was able to help educate them on the process so that way they can educate. So I appreciate
Thank you.
you stepping up for that.
Brandon was the one behind the graphic design.
Well, thank you, Brandy.
So, yeah, so I have great staff. We're like a big family, and they all know it's just as important to them as it is us.
Yeah, so hopefully they'll start sending in some of
Hopefully,
their
yes.
activities so that way that could be advertised through the parish as
Absolutely.
well.
And that goes for everybody. I mean, y'all all representatives in y'all district. We can, and it's not excuses. I mean, we can only find so much on social media. We always say, if we don't know about it, we can't help promote it. So we always say, if there's, between our office, stopping by, calling, texting, emails, we have a portal on our website. There's ways to find us. We're here to help. We're here to promote events, no matter where in the parish or what time of day it's going on. So just have them call us, and we'll get them, whether it's live music or on our website as an account.
Ms. Narcisse?
I just wanted to say thank you to the tourism department. Big ups to Lacey. Ever since she left us, she's still been doing phenomenal. And that's just based, I didn't want to leave that out, but telling y'all, thank y'all. Y'all do a great job.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Ms. Alexander?
Yes, two questions.
All right.
The lady you mentioned, Madonna Broussard, is that Laura's too?
Yes. Yep. She's
What's
still.
up? I thought maybe it was somebody else.
Yep. No, she's the one. She has Laura's too, and she was just recognized as a James Beard nominee for her culinary skills.
Okay, the second question is, where do you take the tour, when you give them a tour in St. Martin Parish?
It depends on how much time we have. So we recently just hosted I think there was 8, I can't remember how many countries. We had, let's say, about 8 international reps that came. So they're contracted through Louisiana Office of Tourism, and what they do is they represent us as a state, in Louisiana, in their country. So we have one in France, one in Italy, one in India, Australia, the UK, Canada, and I'm sure I'm missing some. But we have all those representatives, so we don't get them often. So when we get them, the state contacts us, and y'all got to keep in mind, there's a lot of us out there. There's 64 parishes, but there's a lot more CVBs, visitor centers. So we're very fortunate that because we're out there all the time and we're making ourselves known, they contacted us to host these representatives. And we're having to share them sometimes. They may be in for just 5 or 6 days from their country, and we're maybe having to split our time between maybe 5 or 6 other destinations, Lafayette, New Orleans, Baton Rouge. So we were blessed this last time they came in, we had them about 2 days, which is unheard of. And what we call FAM tour, again, it's a familiarization tour, but we call it on the inside a windshield tour, because sometimes that's all we can do. We may bring them to Henderson, to the levee, and we show them where all the outfitters are. So we show them Atchafalaya Basin Landing, Cypress Cove, and McGee's, but they're not actually going do a swamp tour. Some of them have done it a million times, but it's just getting their eyes on the property. And sometimes we're in a vehicle and we're rolling all over the parish, from the brewery to the museums here in St. Martinville, the church square, downtown Bro Bridge, Dottico Breakfast. We're trying to fit a lot in at one time, not to overload them. We could keep them for a whole week and still have a lot to show them, but sometimes it's just very short, and it just depends what they're looking for. If they're international, it's usually going to be individual travel. It's not big groups that are coming in from Italy. It might be a family or an individual person or just maybe a couple. So they're not necessarily looking to see something that's group friendly. They just kind of want to see like maybe the bed and breakfasts that, offer certain experiences, or like Maison Madeleine. So you just got to know the market, what they're looking for. A lot of international people, they spend a lot of money. So when they come, they don't mind dropping $375 at the secret supper at Maison Madeleine. That's the kind of experiences they're looking for. So we have to know what to show them in that little amount of time for their customers. So in a nutshell, that's kind of what we have to figure it out.
You're doing a good job.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Mr. Vincent.
Mr. Delcom?
You can tell when a person is blowing smoke or if they're real. And y'all are for real. Y'all are for real. Lacey, just the presentation you just gave, and Megan and Brandy, the work that y'all do, I see it, and I see the results in the numbers. You can't make that up. We're blessed to have a group of individuals that work as hard and as diligently as y'all do, day in and day out, all over the country, Canada, France. You can't keep up with them. I can't keep up with them. Lacey is fast. Sometimes I got to slow her down a little bit, but thank you. I want to thank you, and thank y'all. Y'all are making it happen. You took this thing, from a few years back, and you've developed it into what it is today. And as we can see annually, it's growing, and then you can see the results in the people that are coming here because of what y'all are doing. I just want to individually and on behalf of St. Martin Parish government, thank y'all all. Thank you very much.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Melison?
As you know, I travel a lot for work, and I have an area that I cover from Texas to Florida. And I've actually had people make compliments to me on y'all's behalf for the tourism department and the professionalism and the excitement that y'all bring. So
Thank you.
I wanted to let you know
appreciate
that and pass it on to you. Personally, I hear it myself, and that's not just in this area, that's a couple of states over, so on and so forth. And,
Great.
it's always the Crawfish Festival, and that's the first thing that comes in mind. But when we start talking about tourism and the other stuff, there's a lot of compliments that have come
Well, I appreciate
your
that.
way. So
It's a
good job
team
to all of
effort.
y'all, and thank you.
Tourism doesn't sleep. We say that. We had the office Monday through Friday 8 to 5, but y'all know tourism is also nights, weekends, holidays. So Crawfish Festival. So, like when Ms. Corliss said, she reached out to me on a Sunday. It was Super Bowl Sunday. That's when people are coming in, they're having, parties, or they're having dinner somewhere and stuff, and they want to know what's going on. So we don't sleep, but we see what it pays off. So we're excited about that, and again thank everybody for their support.
Ms. Jean-Baptiste?
Yeah, I would be remiss if I don't reach out and thank the Board of Directors. We appreciate y'all volunteering. Sometimes it's hard to get volunteers, but we definitely appreciate y'all sticking with this, and now y'all get to see the fruits of y'all investment. So we thank y'all as well.
So I wanted to go last because I wanted to before I go too far, I want to recognize Mr. Eddie LeBlanc. He's a city council member, and Mr. Mark Bernard, who was just recently inducted into the Hall of Fame for the Festival Association. When I first got elected in 2016, I had a great team working with me. And we had Lacey was at that time was our clerk, Brooke was our assistant clerk. Our department ran real smooth, as it does today. With Brooke and Chantel, we don't miss a beat. When Brooke left, Chantel picked up and took off, and we were able to keep running like we run. So we're very fortunate in the clerk's office to have great employees. And it's not right to single out certain employees, maybe above others. But when it comes to Lacey, she's a very, very special person. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because when she left as our clerk, it was my first term as chairman, and she wanted to do it, and I knew she could do it. She took a department that was really, really struggling. It wasn't very active. her board, she needed to update her board and bring in people with fresh ideas, but Lacey is a leader. She took this thing from the bottom and she brought it to the top. And she didn't do it in 10 years, she did it in a very few years. For her to do what she did right here is unbelievable. Just think about this, the lieutenant governor, the head director of tourism for the state, could have picked anybody in the state, but he chose her. Because he was able to see what we're able to see. That she's a very special person, she's one of a kind. I never thought we could have put a team together as good as we did with the two girls that came in. It's almost like a clone. I mean, they work just as hard as you do.
They do.
When you're out of town and you there, these girls stay over here representing, And when you look at Facebook and you see this and you say, wow, man, she got a great job. She's out there every weekend, she's having a good time, she's working. We don't pay her more than 40 hours a week to work 100 hours a week. And people don't do that because they want to do it. They do it because they love to do it. She loves her job. She loves this parish as much as any one of us in this room loves our parish. Lisa, I can't thank you from the bottom of my heart what you were able to do for St. Martin Parish, you and your team, Morel, Mr. Footy, what y'all do as representatives on that tourism. Y'all turn this thing around in a very short period of time. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Thank y'all for your support.
Item 2, St. Martin Parish Economic Development Authority Executive Director Jennifer Stelly to give a presentation on SMETA operations.
Before I get started, I do want to piggyback and tell Lacey how good she did because I was here when she came in. And one thing they didn't put in their presentation that you think you would be interested to see is their collections over the years since she took over, how much it's grown since she's taken over, which I think would be very impressive for them to see. So y'all are going to hate me by the time I'm done with my presentation.
We have 3 minutes.
Okay, so let's run through this real quick. So what is economic development? People kind of don't have a real understanding of what economic development does and what we do day to day. Basically, all communities need a person or an organization that wakes up every day charged with improving the health of the local economy, and that's what SMETA does every day. Economic development is basically the process of improving a community's economic well-being and quality of life by basically, short story, creating jobs. It's our job to create jobs. Supporting business growth and investment, and the important thing for you guys is expanding the parish's tax base because we can't do anything without a tax base. In simple terms, it's about helping a place become better. A little history of SMETA. We were established in 1994 as a nonprofit economic development agency as a cooperative endeavor agreement between St. Martin Parish government, the school board, the sheriff's office, the city of St. Martinville, city of Roe Bridge, and the village of Parks. Our board, we have 9 people on our board. Each one of our funding partners appoints people. Y'all have 2 appointments. The school board appoints 3. All others get 1, so we have 9 total. Everybody serves for a period of 3 years with a reappointment. There is 1 employee of SMETA, and that is me. I do everything from balancing QuickBooks to go and testify in Baton Rouge on legislations and everything in between. So I am appointed by the board of directors, and I serve at their pleasure. These are some of our core activities. I am not going to go in depth on all of these, but I am going to go in depth on some of them. The first one, which is one of the most important to a rural parish like St. Martin Parish, is site development and infrastructure. Site readiness is one of the most important factors in winning new projects and recruiting businesses. One of the good things about being in a rural parish is we have a lot of land that is undeveloped, and that is very attractive to developers. So it's part of SMETA's job to identify attractive pieces of land in the parish, figure out what kind of infrastructure it needs, and help get that infrastructure in the ground and get it ready for these businesses to come here. Some of our site development activities include, like I said, identifying properties, supporting critical infrastructure improvements, partnering with the landowners. I talk to a lot of landowners. Some of them are very open to developing their properties, and others want nothing to do with it, and that's fine. That's fine. We also secure and supporting grant funding for these infrastructure improvements. The crux of our site development activities is this LED certified site program. It is an invaluable tool for us as a parish that has a very limited budget when it comes to economic development. LED works with us and our regional economic development organization, which is one Acadiana, to identify properties, and then we evaluate those properties to see if they're development ready. To do this, you see that binder right there? I was joking that was my presentation tonight, but it's not. That is a $40,000 binder of due diligence and engineering reports that the state and SMETA and one Acadiana and the utility companies put together for one site. That's engineering reports and due diligence for one site. So what happens is LED says, yes, we like this site, we want to invest in it. They go out for bids. Let's say one site costs $40,000 to certify, to do all that. LED pays 75% of the total cost of that, so they will pay $30,000 on a $40,000 project. And the rest, and I have up here, is split between the landowner, SMETA, one Acadiana, usually our utility partner, and whoever else wants to pitch in. On this site here, this is the Spanish Trail site where Safe Source was. The total certification package came out to $30,000. SMETA's portion was only $2,000 to get all of that work done for that one site. When we certified that site, no, it's $40,000, I'm sorry. When we certified that site, 6 months went by and we got a phone call saying, hey, we have a project that is interested in locating on that site. And it was at the time Safe Source, who's now closed, but we were able to secure that project on that site because we did all of that work. It saved the company 9 months of lead time because we'd done all the work for them. And they hired over 800 people at a cost to us of a little over $2, like 20 cents a job. So SMETA's investment of $2,000 ended up resulting in 800 and something jobs. That's a huge return on investment that we don't see in any other program that we participate in. So when I came in 2018, St. Martin Parish was the only parish that had 0 certified sites in the entire region. We had none. In 2019, we did our first one, and by the end of 2026, we will have 7 or 8. So it's paying off for us. I did a map up here where you can see the red pins are certified sites. We have one in Breaux Bridge along I-10. The bulk of our industrial activity is along the Highway 90 corridor in the Broussard area, and that's where most of our sites are certified. But total, at the end of 2026, we will have over 400 acres certified as development ready, and that's a huge number. That's numbers that some parishes never see in their entire existence. So we're very proud of that. Okay, marketing and business recruitment. Marketing and business recruitment are about positioning St. Martin Parish competitively and ensuring we are visible to site selectors, developers, and investors. It's not dissimilar to tourism. You know, they showcase what our parish has to offer. We showcase what we have to offer as far as industry and workforce. Some of the things we market are strategic location, infrastructure, low cost of living, affordable property, quality of life. We coordinate with the state and regional economic development organizations in tourism. We do direct outreach to companies. Our budget isn't big enough for us to do a lot of direct outreach because that involves going to trade shows and going, to site selector conventions, and that's just not within our budget. So hopefully in the future, we can look at doing some more direct outreach, but right now it's just not in the cards. We do respond to RFPs, that's requests for proposals from LED for large projects, and we coordinate the management of those responses. And so whenever we go after these big companies, we're not just throwing everything against the wall and hoping something sticks. We have target industries that we go after: manufacturing, logistics, transportation. And a lot of parishes don't focus on this, but I do, because we have a huge interstate that runs through our parish, and that's retail. So whenever we go after projects, we're looking in these for industries to recruit. Okay, business retention and expansion. This is probably the second most important part of what we do day to day. It's an essential part of SMETA's work because these businesses are already here. They're already invested. They already employ our people that live here in St. Martin Parish. We do site visits, business visits with our what we call driver companies. That's our larger employers in the parish, at least once a year. We try to do once a year. Sometimes it's once every 2 years. We partner with one Acadiana and a representative from Louisiana Economic Development. That way, we're addressing their needs at a parish level, a regional level, and a state level. It's a proactive way to figure out what challenges our companies are facing and try to figure out how to fix those challenges before they even know they are challenges. Let's see. This is some of our sample visit questions. A lot of them are kind of weird, it seems like, but you'd be surprised what gets people talking. What in the future are you most optimistic about? That's when people get really excited. They may have a project in their back pocket that they're really excited to talk about. How happy are you with St. Martin Parish? What could we do better? What are we doing good that we can expound upon? Are there any present needs that we can help with? There was one company that we met with, and they're like, yeah, we are flooding. And I'm like, well, that's a problem. Why haven't you reached out before? They said, it's not a big problem yet, but there's a corner of our property that's flooding, and we're worried that it's gonna, back up. I said, well, we can fix that in like 5 minutes. So when I left the meeting, we called Public Works, got it cleared the same week, and they said, we didn't know it was that easy. I said, well, that's why we do these visits, so we can figure out what you need. And this is just a benefit and risk comparison. The investment to do retention and expansion projects is so much less than a new business recruitment. If you land a huge project like these data centers in North Louisiana, billions of dollars of investment just to put infrastructure in the ground. Whereas if you're doing an expansion project, most of this infrastructure is already there. We're not spending a lot of money. We're not taking a lot of risk. So business retention and expansion is hugely important in St. Martin. Workforce development. Workforce development is one of the most critical factors in both business recruitment and business retention. We can land big projects all day long, but if we don't have the employees to fill those jobs, those companies aren't going to hang around. So we partner with local schools, community colleges, universities, and workforce training organizations to help align educational and training programs with the needs of local employers. And that goes back to our business visits. One of the main questions we ask them is, do you have workforce needs? Are you having trouble hiring people? What kind of soft skills do they need to develop? Once we find that out, then we work directly with industry to understand the hiring challenges, emerging skill requirements, and we get with our workforce partners and develop customized training programs. So some of our workforce development activities, we hold a seat on our local workforce development board. That's where we analyze workforce trends, develop custom training programs, something that seems kind of small and inconsequential, but it's become my favorite part of what I do during the year. We host the St. Martin Parish School Board Career Fair for 8th grade students. It's amazing, and I think D'Angie's come before. We reach out to our industry partners. We get them to set up booths. We get all the 8th grade St. Martin Parish students to come through, and we have everybody from industry, from chemical engineers to bankers to, our armed services to, we had a barber one year. And to see these kids go and talk to these different industries is just amazing because they didn't know that some of these job opportunities were out there. So the first year we did, the barber had the biggest crowd around him. And I said, what is going on? Why are so people interested in that? He was giving free haircuts to all the kids. So there was a lot of kids that left there thinking that was the coolest job in the world. And that's amazing for us. This is just some pictures of the career fair. Small business development. Small businesses are the backbone not only of St. Martin Parish's economy, but the country's economy. We provide support for entrepreneurs and startups. We help people write business plans. We give them access to capital. We even do their logo designs. We've done a handful of logo designs. We help them navigate available resources and programs, either through us, the state, Small Business Administration, Louisiana Economic Development. And we host small business workshops on all different types of topics, Business Plan 101, marketing, AI. I did an AI class the other day. And these are some of our flyers that we've done for some of the classes. We did a small business marketing workshop in partnership with tourism. We partnered with the city of Bridge and a company called Retail Strategies to do a workshop on how to become a franchisee. And actually, the one on the right is for tomorrow. We have a Business Plan 101 class that is going to happen at the Bridge Library. So if you know anybody that wants to learn how to write a business plan, you can have them come. Okay, industrial development. A lot of old school economic developers think industrial development is the only way, is the only aspect of economic development. And they're not wrong, because the numbers don't lie. So I'm going to go over a couple of projects that SMEDA has done just to show the impact of what a focus on an industrial development can do. So in 2002, SMEDA worked to develop 160 acres of farmland in the Broussard area to turn it into an industrial park. It was kind of an outside the box project, but it resulted in 42, it's actually 43 now, 43 new businesses located in the park with a peak total valuation in 2015 of almost $136 million. Over 650 jobs have been created, and is the highest grossing ad valorem tax area in St. Martin Parish now. The project has been cited as a textbook example of proactive economic development by many different studies and authorities. And at the bottom, I don't have the updated numbers. 2023 is the latest I have. The businesses in SMEDA Park in 2003 paid $1.6 million in ad valorem taxes, and St. Martin Parish government collected $550,000 of that. So that's just one project that SMEDA's done that you're still seeing benefits from even today. So from 2009, which is the earliest I could get data from, to 2023, SMEDA Park has collected $25 million in total ad valorem taxes. That's only on 160 acres. Right now we have, that's Carla's district, yeah. Right now we have 400 acres available for development. So if you take that, we have a lot of room to grow, and that's exciting. This is a aerial view of SMEDA Park, so you can see kind of where it is. Highway 90 is to the west, and it's really a small piece of property for the amount of taxes that are collected there. Baker Hughes, this is an old one, but it was a SMEDA project back in the late 90s. SMEDA recruited Baker Hughes to locate in St. Martin Parish. They are now our largest ad valorem tax payer in the parish. And you can see in 2023, they paid $586,000 in ad valorem taxes. Cargill, this is a good example of a retention project. In 2022, they reached out to LED and to us saying, hey, we need to modernize, but we don't know if we want to do it in St. Martin or we want to do it somewhere else. And we said, okay, let's talk about this. So we worked with them and their site selectors, and we were able to keep them here. And not only keep them here, but they invested $34.5 million to modernize their equipment. And we were able to retain 70 jobs and keep them from moving out of the parish. So that's almost more important than recruiting new jobs, because you know these workers, you know those 70 people. Aquaspersions is a neat one. They kind of worked hand in hand with Safe Source, which is now closed, but they're still in operations. They are a British company who opened their first U.S. location in St. Martin Parish. They make chemical dispersions added to the glove manufacturing process. They are now selling to other glove manufacturers across the country, but they created 25 jobs with $7.5 million in capital expenditures. So long story short, since 2018, which was when I came in, and I have data for, SMEDA has worked on projects that have created over 1,400 jobs, 1,100 indirect jobs, 70 jobs retained, and the big number is over $239 million in new capital expenditures and taxable property. So, other areas of work that I'm not going to talk about: revitalization, strategic planning, information clearinghouse, government advocacy, and creating partnerships. We do all that on a day-to-day basis, but I don't have time to bore you with that. So some of our current work: we're working 4 active industrial projects now that are all confidential. I'm under NDA, so I can't explain what they are. But they are very promising, and they are sprinkled throughout the parish, which is great. We're marketing our certified sites. We're working with the city of Breaux Bridge on a traffic study to see what needs to happen in that area to accommodate future development. We broke ground on 4 major projects within the last year, and we are going to cut the ribbon on all of them within the next 3 months. They are all going to be getting invitations soon. We're working on a big railroad spur project into the Spanish Trail Industrial Park. When we get RFPs, more often than not, every company wants a railroad spur. And one thing St. Martin Parish does not have is a lot of railroad. So this is a big deal, not just for St. Martin Parish, but for that industrial park, because that's going to open that park up to some future development. Retail recruitment in the I-10 area, working with CPEX, that's the Center for Planning Excellence, and St. Martinville on some grant funding they awarded. And we just hosted a FAM tour. We do FAM tours as well, just like tourism does, but for site selectors. We hosted a group of 4 site selectors during the Mardi Gras holidays. I was able to meet them one-on-one, give a presentation on St. Martin Parish, tell them why we're good to do business with. And it went really well. We made some good connections, and hopefully that pays off. And that's it. So one exciting thing that we did last year is we legislatively established the St. Martin Parish Economic and Industrial Development District. St. Martin Parish was kind of behind the 8 ball when it comes to industrial development. And by getting this designation from the legislature, it gives us certain powers and the ability to offer certain incentives to businesses that St. Martin Parish couldn't do before. All of our neighboring parishes could offer these, but we couldn't do it. So we took the initiative to get this done so we can just play catch up with them. And not only play catch up, we can make our terms a little bit more attractive now. So it's going to give us a huge competitive edge that we've never had before. And I'm excited to kind of figure out what it can do, because we're not even really sure everything it can do yet. So we're going to keep you all involved in that as well. Okay. So funding. We are funded by our funding partners. I told you who they were earlier. I just wanted to let you know the neighboring parishes funding. You can see up here St. Landry's 3.5, Iberia is 522. Even the city of Broussard has their own economic development agency, and this is yearly amounts. They're funded $223,000 a year, so on average, it's $2.3 million a year for each agency. We operate on $107,000 a year, which is hard. It's hard. We would like to do more. We want to pay for our own studies. We want to put infrastructure in the ground on our own. We just don't have the funding there yet. So we're working on some things that might fix that. So stay tuned. And yeah, thank you. I know I talked a lot. I do better when people ask me questions and I have to answer them. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any comments from the council? Ms. Jean-Baptiste?
I just want to thank you. I know we have worked diligently, especially in District 2. We're trying to occupy some of the oil field business and so forth, and having to take field trips and go and look at different sites. That's some of the thing that, you do outside and above what's expected. So I want to commend you too for going the extra mile to try to make sure we can get businesses, retain them, fill old buildings with new businesses, so that way we could extend out employment to keep the economy growing in the parish. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Ms. Narcisse?
No, I just wanted to say thank you very much. And I wanted to speak on thanking Jenny as a business owner, not a council member. Is that being a business owner, I have visited Jenny and thinking that I knew some things. She taught me so much and actually showed me in black and white the different studies for the the business possibilities. She also came and she did a video of my business. I had no idea, and it actually opened the doors and the avenues that I thought I was getting hits off of Facebook, but it was actually coming from the economic department. So I just want to, the business one-on-one class, I sat in there a couple of times. I actually invited her to come this way, and she took that offer. I think we were 7:30 in the morning. Yeah. So even before her work schedule, she came out and sat with a group of business owners, local individuals, and she gave us a book full of information. So I just want to say, along with the same, we congratulate Lacey and the tourism department that Jenny definitely, I can tell her spark. She's always excited, and I call her 7 day anytime. It's just no, I don't even look at the clock. I'll call her and ask her a question or something. So we're very, very fortunate to have you and just doing your thing. So just keep on certifying some more sites.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes, Ms. Jennifer Stella. I know you're probably going to say that I asked you this about 3 or 4 times, maybe more already, but could you explain the part about 140 acres in Henderson site, exactly where that is?
So one of the sites that is going to be certified within the next, I would say, 2 months is 140 acres at the Henderson exit on the northwest quadrant of the exit behind the Bayou Bell Casino. We have 4 different property owners that we're working with to cobble together 140 acres. Part of it is in Henderson city limits, part of it is not. But we're going through the whole process, of doing the due diligence. I know you have adjacent property to the north that is not included. It's all of Mr. Knott's property and the Huval property and the Zimmerman properties, and that's it.
Is that, you're talking about behind Crawfordstown, USA?
No. It's on the other side. It's on the northwest quadrant, behind the hotel, the Holiday Inn.
Behind the hotel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
behind the hotel.
I got 28 acres there, and I've
I
been
know.
trying to find out what.
I know. I saw your name on the map. I saw your name on the map there.
Yeah, because I'm right behind Holiday Inn.
Right.
So are y'all considering an industrial park there?
Not yet. We don't have any plans for that. Right now, we're just trying to get it certified, and we're going to market it to, through LED. Once a property is certified, it goes on LED's database of certified sites, and they handle a lot of the marketing for us. So we're going to see where that gets us. And then if my board decides they want to, pursue an industrial park, that's something we could look at down the road.
But I know you mentioned that about industrial park development in Broussard, right?
Yes.
So why we can't consider developing one in St. Martin Parish?
We actually have discussed that, and I have some board members that would like to see that happen. So there's conversations happening about that.
Well, I'm still here.
It takes time. Stuff like that takes time.
One last question. Could you explain what you mean by partnering with landowners? When you say partnering?
So we can't certify a property and we can't develop a property unless the landowners are 100% on board with that. They have to, first of all, sign an agreement that says they will only market that property for industrial purposes for an entire year, and they have to pitch in for part of the cost sharing. So that's what we mean by partnering with the landowners. If the landowner doesn't want to do it, we can't make them do it. We only want to partner with landowners that want to see development happen on their property.
Mr. Delcom?
Yeah, I just wanted to, when you look at, we want to bring industry in and so forth, and why is Louisiana so far back? But if you picked up on what Ms. Jenny was saying, is that businesses are calling all the time. Do you have something? And they want to make sure, and they want something that is, without lack of better words, shovel ready. You've gone out with one Acadiana and you develop these properties. You develop these sites to where, yes, not only do we have it, however, we've done the due diligence, we've looked into it with the utilities and this and the roads and the spurs and the this and the that. And because if we don't get that industry, that entity, somebody else is going to get it. You know, it's a very competitive market. And I've watched you work. You worked hand in hand with us in doing things in the Smeta Park and in other areas in Henderson. And I just want to thank you for the work that you do and the results that you're getting. You know, just as I reached out and said about the tourism, you know, the numbers verify what you're saying. You're not just blowing smoke. You're coming in here and you're working and you're getting results. And I just wanted to thank you for that very much. Thank you.
That reminded me, I forgot to mention with the certified sites, we are the first parish to ever land a project on a certified site in the entire Acadiana region. And we're currently the only parish to land 2 projects on 2 separate certified sites. So that's something to be pretty proud of.
Going over some of the stuff that Tangi brought up about Jennifer being a hard worker and stuff. I mean, she is. She's kind of like the tourism department. She really goes beyond where she needs to go sometimes to be able to get the job done for us. She does a really good job. She's a really valuable asset to St. Martin Parish. Previous administration, I'm not gonna pat him on the back because he's here and I don't want to take too much credit for all this, but we recognize something between those Jennifer and Lacey because one sells the parish and one builds the parish. And we were able to put these 2 together in one building when we decided to merge the 2 in the same unit because one reflects off the other. And it's really paid off because I know not only having a friendship and being able to work together, but a lot of stuff that Jennifer does helps Lacey and her business and everything, what they do in the tourism helps to promote, you know, to get some stuff done. One works for the other. I think it was a great idea when we decided, the previous administration, to put y'all in the same building and have y'all, not say work together, but be able to lean on each other.
Right.
And it's been a big payoff for St. Martin Parish. So look, on behalf of the council and all, we want to thank you for what you do. Commend you for your efforts and all, and maybe you're not getting enough money. Maybe we need to look at that. So
Hey, I'm not gonna
because,
turn it down.
I think we're getting our bang for our buck, trust me. So
No,
thank
we're
you for what you do.
Item 3, Kimya Cruz, Grant Consultant for La Louisiane Consulting and President of Greater St. Martinville Economic Development District to discuss grant opportunities for St. Martin Parish.
Ms. Cruz could not make it tonight, but she'll get with the clerk and we'll try to reschedule for another time.
We will skip to item number 14. Councilmember Tangi Narcisse to discuss sewer issue at the St. Martin Parish Jail.
Ms. Narcisse?
All right, thank y'all, council, for moving it ahead, because I have to go, but, in regards to this, I wanted to speak on this issue because I've received some concerns and calls from, individuals concerning this, a sewer issue. And, I mentioned it to chairperson when we came in for meeting, and obviously it's something that's been spoken of or brought to attention many years ago. So I can definitely, he is more aware of the issue because it happened. It's been happening before my term. So I'll switch it over if you don't mind. I'll give it to chairperson to speak on it because obviously it's been some conversation and I think I just don't want to be a part of kicking the can down the road anymore. So if you don't mind.
So what Tanya's bringing up is we have issues in the jail where sometimes the people that are incarcerated might decide to flush linens down, the urinals, the different things like that, and it clogs up the sewer system. So this was back when Sheriff Terrio was when he was sheriff and Guy was parish president. I know we had some issues back then, and we looked at it and everything about maybe putting a shredder in some place to be able to catch it, because Thomas Nelson was mayor at that time. Mr. Nelson had brought up the problem that it was costing them because they had to keep repairing their pumps and all. So what we had talked about doing was maybe looking at putting a shredder. The cost of a shredder was really expensive, and I don't think everybody was agreeing at the time, so they tried a different solution. And it seemed to work for a little while, but then I think talking with the sheriff and some of the people that work for the sheriff's office, and I know there's been some recent discussion on it that we've been having issues again with it. One of the things that they had brought up, and this was about 8-9 years ago probably, they had looked at doing something where they could have put a catch basin, pretty much like a commercial sewer system to where it would have went from the jail into there, to where when that system would get full, they could pump it out. So I know there was looks at doing it before, because it was costing the city a lot of money. And somebody had talked to me a while back that it was getting to be an issue again, another problem. So I know Ms. Narcisse, she had asked to put it on the agenda to discuss it for some of the stuff. I guess it's something that administration will have to work with them and kind of come to a solution. But I know one of the solutions was, they had kind of talked about that would have been one of the cheapest, or it would have been one of the solutions that they had looked at. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Well, actually, over the last month, with the issues that the city is having and currently having, we did more than just look at it. Between myself and Mr. Raymond, Mr. Joshua with Precision Plumbing and so forth, that does most of the plumbing work at the jail. We've determined the lines of sewer coming out of the jail, and of course, identification of the trash that they're throwing down there. We've looked at the options of it. It's more than just what a grinder pump can take care of. And of course, with the new jail that we are anticipating, we'll have the cruncher pump that will be able to facilitate anything and everything that's thrown down. However, we do not have that option right now. Now, we have looked into identification of the sewer lines, and we have tentatively come up with a design. Mr. Josh with Precision actually constructed and installed a catch basin, as you say, at the St. Mary facility off of Highway 90. And we've identified an area in which we think we can put it in that all of the two lines are consolidated into one before it goes into the lift station, and that we could put this designed catch basin in that area to be able to take out all of those solids that are being disposed into the lift station. We're in the process of designing that and putting that together. The city is having issues in identifying their sewer lines, and until they can pump it down to where Mr. Josh can get some definitive readings in the sewer line itself, we're kind of at a standstill. But we certainly are moving forward with not only a plan, but a design, an area that will take care of the issue at hand. And hopefully, within the next 5 years or so, that we will be out of this facility and somewhere else. But in the meantime, this will be not a temporary situation or not a temporary fix to this. This will be able to alleviate the problem that St. Martinville is having with that lift station. We're in the process of, as I said, and as soon as we can get additional readings in that sewer line itself, we will be getting a design program from Mr. Josh. I will be sitting down with Mr. Sean and coming back to the council to get this thing funded. So we're all working on it, and I'm hoping for a very swift and definitive answer to the problem.
Thank you.
I got a question.
Ms. Narcisse?
I have a question, Parish President. In the meantime, any bill that's occurred either from the city or whoever else have issues with this, are we responsible for it? The parish responsible for it?
I've had discussion with the mayor. It is we know the source. It's from the jailhouse, and it's from the prisoners. The parish government does take care of the facility and all things therein. Now, once it's been disposed of into, we're assuming that the issue is all because of the refuse being put into that lift station, okay? There are areas in St. Martinville proper that have issues. And I have contacted the mayor, and I said we can talk about, let's say, some kind of possible a division of expenses or so forth. But from the parish's perspective, I need to make sure that The issue is actually being caused by the debris from the jail. So I said, if there's a clog, if there's an issue in the thing, I know the pump station. However, the issues that are in the actual sewer lines in areas of the city need to be identified to where I am assured that it is from a problem that I have responsibility in. And if it is, I don't have a problem. I'll come back and we're gonna do the right thing, but the due diligence has to be done and verified before I can make that decision or bring that to you to make decisions.
Thank you.
Good.
We will go back to item 4. Discussion of ordinance summary number 1539 OR, an ordinance to authorize St. Martin Parish government to sell by public disposition all of its interest in that certain tract of land situated in the parish of St. Martin, Louisiana, that was adjudicated to St. Martin Parish government by tax deed recorded in the records of St. Martin Parish, Louisiana, under entry number 528053, all in accordance with Louisiana Revised Statute 47:2201 et sec.
Mr. Dario.
Yes, this was an adjudicated property from June of 2019 to the parish. It's abandoned, it's a nuisance property. It's on main highway heading towards New Iberia. The neighboring property owner reached out, interested in buying it, trying to put it back in the stream of commerce. It's been vetted by planning and zoning and myself. It's all in order, the usual process. So I think they're gonna vote on that in March.
Next week.
Okay, thank you.
Item 5, discussion of ordinance summary number 1540 OR, an ordinance to authorize St. Martin Parish government to sell by public disposition all of its interest in that certain tract of land situated in the parish of St. Martin, Louisiana, that was adjudicated to St. Martin Parish government by tax deed recorded in the records of St. Martin Parish, Louisiana, under entry number 518926, all in accordance with Louisiana Revised Statute 47:2201 et sec.
Mr. Dario.
Yes, same circumstance. This one was adjudicated to the parish June of 2018. It's another abandoned residence. It's a nuisance. Neighboring property owner showed interest to the parish in buying it. You're gonna vote in March next week on that one as well.
Thank you.
And that's on Bayou Alexander Highway.
Item 6, Parish President Pete Delcom to give an update on water consolidation projects.
Mr. Delcom.
Okay, as we all know that we've had this water consolidation of Catahoula, the industrial park, St. Martin Parish government, and the city of St. Martinville. It's been in flux over the last 4 years, last 2 years since I've been here. It was divided into 8 phases, and to date, we have contracted and are presently in the process of completing 7 of the 8 projects, the last project being the water well itself that needed to be drilled in addition to the 2 pre-existing water wells that are on Aubrey-Ozanne Road. The issue that I had was we could not get a well situated adjacent to the present wells. So we had to do a circle, then another circle. We ended up about a quarter of a mile away from the existing wells, and then we had to go out to bid on this new location and the well. That being said, the price of POCA went up. The price to do this project, to do this the last cog of this project went up by $2 million. So I went to the water sector board. You were presented with the letter that we sent to the water sector board explaining our situation, $2,016,385.83. Went to the water board to request a change order to where they could possibly fund this shortage that we had. Now, if you've, of course, the budget manual that was accepted over the past years, Mr. Chester had, and the previous board council had authorized and had set aside $3.4 million for the actual match money and an additional $450,000 in the event of need. And this was the event of need. Thank goodness for the previous council and Mr. Chester's foresight in that we had the necessary match money in the budget, in the construction of project heading to be able to take care of and substantiate the 25% match that was needed. So of a $2 million shortage, $400,000 was available in match money. The state was coming up with the additional $1.5 million, $1.6 million, giving us the $2 million necessary to complete the project as such and get that last well dug. So very pleased with the outcome, with the Water Sector Board accepting our proposal, with our ability to have the match money in hand, and with the Water Sector Board accepting and allowing us to use the additional funding to be able to finish our project. Any questions?
Any questions from council? Ms. Jean-Baptiste?
So are we getting additional fundings from the Water Sector Board, or are we just using our match?
No, we're getting, if you look at the second page, third page of what I gave to you, you can see additional request, $2,016,385. Of that, $1,591,385 is coming from this Water Sector Board, and $425 is coming from the Parish of St. Martin, giving a total of $2,016,000, which was the bid that came in on this new water project.
I'm sorry, I didn't see this last stuff that was sent to us.
Yes.
Okay.
Ms. Narcisse?
Maybe I had the same question, but I want to make sure I understand.
It's on the third page.
So, yeah, so the shortfall was the 2 million, but the state, you said the state is sending a 1 point?
The state is
the
giving
state.
basically $1.6 million of that shortage, 75%.
So we're not touching the monies that was set aside?
No, we're putting up 400.
We're putting up 400, just out that
Yes,
400.
that is,
but
and that money had been set aside from,
Yes.
initially from ARPA funds.
Uh-huh.
So it's not coming, it was moved into the general fund. However, it was actually federal money that came in that was used for the entirety
that
of our
project.
match money. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
all right. I got it, thank you.
No further questions?
Item 7, consider the adoption of a resolution opposing Class 6 injection wells designed for long-term geologic sequestration and capturing of carbon dioxide gases.
I have a couple of people in the audience who wish to speak on this item. Ms. Brandon Dubois? Mr. Brandon Dubois?
Hi, good evening. So my name is Brendan Dubrock, and I'm a resident in Central Louisiana, but I'm also the campaign manager for Dr. John Fleming for U.S. Senate. So I'm here to speak on his behalf. He wanted to apologize that he could not be here because he's at a prior engagement. He has asked me to read a statement on his behalf, and I do have a copy for the clerk of court as she requested. Good evening, and thank you, members of St. Martin Parish Council, for the opportunity to provide this statement today. I will start by expressing my unequivocal opposition to the variety of carbon capture and sequestration initiatives being advanced in Louisiana. Let me be frank. These technologies are unproven commercially, heavily dependent on government subsidies, and riddled with financial and legal uncertainty. Current federal tax initiatives, such as the enhanced 45Q credits, attract investment but also shift risk to taxpayers when projects fail to meet performance targets or when long-term storage liability remains undefined under existing state law. Pending legislative proposals in Baton Rouge are rightfully focused on clarifying liability, establishing monitoring requirements, and protecting landowner rights. CCS possessions poses open-ended risk from stored CO2 to potential remediation cost that taxpayers should not be asked to absorb. Injecting and storing CO2 underground for generations raises important questions. Who is responsible if a leak occurs? Who bears the cost of monitoring and maintenance decades into the future? These are not abstract concerns. They are serious financial and legal risk that deserve scrutiny. Experience shows that carbon capture is hazardous. CO2 leaks can asphyxiate living things and possess risk, especially to rural communities in our state. CO2 is not a harmless green project with environmental benefits. Instead, it is a scheme that allows certain powerful interests to benefit financially at the public's expense. Louisiana public officials must act as trustees of natural resources. Private companies cannot be lawfully granted the right to use land for hazardous purposes. This is a breach of public trust. There are legitimate concerns about property rights, land use, and long-term storage liability. Using eminent domain for carbon pipelines and underground storage violates property rights. Eminent domain is intended for a public good, not for the benefit of a few powerful interests. We cannot gamble our physical stability on the premise of future breakthroughs, especially when other investments like coastal restoration, flood protection, workforce development, and economic diversification deliver clear, measurable benefits for Louisiana families. Louisiana's economic strength has always been built on responsible stewardship of our natural resources, our communities, and our public finances. We must continue to protect all three. Innovation should be welcomed, but not blindly accepted. Any economic initiative undertaken in our state must be met with rigorous standards of fiscal responsibility, transparency, and accountability. It is my position as U.S. candidate for the U.S. Senate to uphold those standards and protect our physical health and financial health. Based on the available evidence and the significant risk involved, CCS clearly fails that test. Thank you for this opportunity, Dr. John Fleming.
Thank you. Ms. Wendy Thibodeau?
How y'all doing? I'm Wendy Thibodeau. I'm just a local resident. I'm not an eloquent speaker like he is, but I'm here to talk about carbon capture. I don't know what y'all stance is on it, if y'all for it or if y'all opposed to it. Personally, I'm opposed to it. I don't know where y'all plan on doing it, if y'all plan on doing it, but we have the Chico Aquifer that runs under St. Martin Parish. The Chico Aquifer system underlies approximately 9,300 square miles in southwest Louisiana, and it's the primary water source for 15 parishes, okay? It is the state's largest source of ground source. I'm sorry, I'm nervous. It accounts for 48% of all the groundwater used in Louisiana, okay? So if they want to drill half a mile for carbon capture, they're going to, if it's in the right spot, they'll drill into the aquifer or past it.
which is not good. If carbon capture gas penetrates an aquifer, it will cause groundwater to acidify, triggering chemical reactions that leach elements such as arsenic, lead, manganese, uranium from the surrounding rock. So it's not healthy for our environment. And I know that they want carbon capture to go further, maybe for an AI center, which is even worse. So I hope y'all do what's right, if y'all can. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions, comments from the council? I kind of went over it briefly. We met with some of some other parishes and had discussions on carbon captures, the rewards. There's no rewards.
No.
None at all. It's for tax credits. It doesn't. It's not economic development. It doesn't bring anything back. It has more harm than good, in my opinion, and that's my opinion only. I'm not trying to influence anybody, but we've shared information. I've had people from other parishes and stuff share information with me that I've been passing over to the council for y'all to be able to kind of get a look at it and all. If you have any more questions about it, or the public has any questions about it, I can direct y'all into the people that can, answer some of these questions if we can answer them here. It's coming, and there's 6 proposed sites in the state that's going to be dug, none here in St. Martin Parish, but my biggest concern, I guess, is I've been involved in the Chafalaya Basin and sat on numerous committees and state committees and worked on federal projects and everything with the Chafalaya Basin. We got a lot of empty wells in there. We got a lot of abandoned wells. And my concern would be, that it's out of sight, out of mind. And we have other issues in that basin that we deal with every day. Siltation buildup. We need to make sure that basin is there for our kids, their futures. Very important to the tourism. Be a shame we get out there and we find 200 acres, 300 acres, and we look out there and 50,000 acres more of dead alligators bellied up, and crawfish industry goes down, and fish kills and all this other stuff. So we want to make sure that we protect. We need to leave it better than we took it, and we need to protect it for our kids and their future. Mr. DeRock, you have something you want to add?
Yes. So I would like to speak clearly on my behalf, Brendan Dubrock. So we've been across the state. We brought this up in legislation back in April in subcommittee. We asked the Committee of Natural Resources to let the 64 parishes have a say. I debated with some legislators in the hall of the Capitol, and they said no, because if St. Martin Parish doesn't want it, but Calcasieu wants it, we need to be able to run that pipeline across their parish. That's whenever we kind of didn't see eye to eye on carbon sequestration. One of the things that I think I'm hoping the council will consider is asking your legislators to define what CO2 sequestration is, because what we've done is we've lumped this into one term, CCS. We have different tier wells. We have tier 2, which is enhanced oil recovery. Now, yes, we've been doing that technology for many generations and decades. That's safe. Now, there has been some incidents. We were in Delhi, Louisiana, which is in northeast Louisiana. They had a leak from the Danbury pipeline. I spoke with some city council members there, and they said that the Danbury line wouldn't even let the media go in. They were drilling enhanced oil recovery, which is a minute fraction of CO2, but it pushes oil and gas so they can reclaim that. We understand that process. There was an oil well that was capped with cement 1.5 miles away. That cement cap, they did not know was existed there. They're abandoned wells. There's so many wells across the state of Louisiana that we don't know exist. I mean, they go back decades. My grandfather was a superintendent for Trans World Oil right here in Broussard in Youngsville, went offshore. There's many of these abandoned wells that are capped that we don't even know. That EOR project, it busted the cap on that cement plug of that old well. The city councilman told me that the news media was not allowed to go in because there was dead deer, dead fish within the vicinity of that well of just a small, minute EOR project. Now, what I and many of our geologists that are in oil and gas that cannot speak out because they've been threatened with their jobs, some councilmen, councilmen in Allen Parish, which is very unfortunate. But we're talking about Tier 5. Tier 5 wells are these test injection sites. These are permitted through the state, and they are on a rush to get these projects done. Tier 5 wells are test sites. They want to go in and drill and just see if your ground can hold the pressure of this. Tier 6 wells are the permanent storage, and they can't tell us even how much is going to go into these permanent storage wells. We do know that there's a project that's being fought in Rapides and Vernon Parish that's a Tier 6 well, and that proposed site is planned to hold over 200 billion metric tons of CO2 under the Kisatchie National Forest. They like to go into rural areas because they have attorneys that go in and will basically do a head count, per se, if they have to pay out. Okay, so that's why they really focus on rural communities. They call it economic development, but whenever you look at it, we have NG3 under deposition in Baton Rouge a couple of months ago. Actually, it was in 2025. NG3 was awarded the line that goes from the Danbury line in Calcasieu up into Bulgar Parish, and under deposition and oath, he said that we have to go in, put new pipeline down, because this is a supercritical state of liquefied cooled product. He said 95% of it is carbon dioxide, but the other 5%, we don't know what it is because it comes from different manufacturing. We're for oil and gas. We want to make that clear. We're for traditional oil and gas methods. The industry will argue with you and debate you and say, well, we have to, based on the European model, is we cannot sell our product because European nations won't buy it. Well, my answer to that is, guess what? We have it, you don't. Either you buy it the way we produce it, but we're not going to be held to European EU standards. And I hope that we as a country and a nation can adjust that. So there's a lot to go into this, and I thank you for your time and allowing me to speak this evening. We have also what's called a DAC facility coming to Shreveport Bossier. And I don't know if you are familiar with DAC facilities. These are direct air capture facilities. They're going to put turbines and they're going to suck air in. They're going to burn limestone to capture carbon dioxide for the environment, for out of the air. And unfortunately, I love our LED, but they're committed to giving them $10 million to develop this DAC facility in Shreveport. They're claiming they're going to offer 20 jobs, but our state is going to commit $10 million to that, but then they're going to capitalize on putting a pipeline in from Bossier Parish all the way down through Natchitoches, DeSoto, along the I-49 corridor into the Cenla hub. Why is Louisiana key to carbon capture sequestration? Why do they keep telling us we are the perfect geological storage? Well, it's because we've been blindsided by lobbyists, but the nation wants to pipeline their CO2 and carbon dioxide waste, which is not. The atmosphere is only 0.04% carbon dioxide. Plants need it. My family farms 2,800 tillable, and we're begging to get carbon dioxide back into our ground for our plants to survive and so we can grow more crops. So now they're telling us but it's all a 45Q tax scam. It's a Green New Deal scam, ladies and gentlemen. Not Tier 2 EOR. We understand that. We want to produce oil and gas. We want to produce LNG, but we don't want to store this stuff and let the nation pump this into Louisiana. So I've been very vocal and very opposed to this. So I thank you for your time. I'm very passionate about it, and I apologize for getting passionate about this. So I'm free to take any questions because I have studied this for many years. So I have been in chemistry. I've been an industrial environmentalist. I've gone into industrial sites, industrial Superfund sites. I pulled samples and sent them to labs, and my job was to analyze these chemicals to know how to dispose of them. So I'm very familiar with it.
Mr. Melason, you have a question?
Actually, I did have some questions, and I was going to speak from my point of view. I'm glad, ma'am, you came up and said what you said, and I'm glad you came back,
Yes.
because I probably wouldn't have put it as nice as you did
Sure.
with this carbon capture scam. That's about all it amounts to. A lot of my livelihood, the bulk of my livelihood, comes from the oil and gas industry for a long time. It still does to this day. I have nothing against the oil and gas. I'm still in it up to my ears. This is a scam. This state is basically, for the most part, a giant swamp. You start pumping things down underground, no matter how deep you go. You know as well as I do, and I'm not no engineer or geologist or anything like that, eventually something detrimental is going to happen.
Yes.
This whole state could turn into a volcano. It's going to screw up our water systems, our water tables, everything. Then you start doing directional drilling to try to pass and skirt the issue in this eminent domain crap, and you hit wells that are already capped and plugged, and then you create more problems.
They're called legacy wells.
Oh, I know exactly what they're
know where
called.
they're at.
I know exactly what they're called. And again, this is all, this has the potential to be very catastrophic for this state. And it's a shame because there's lobbyists and, for lack of better words, pimps pushing this stuff from around the country to dump it in here.
Yes.
We had an incident, it was a salt dome, but many years ago, right around Avery Island, Lake Panor. They were drilling, just an old barge rig. Guess what? They popped a hole in the salt dome. There's a YouTube video of it. It's an old video, but you can see that lake is creating a whirlpool. Different type of scenario, but that's the same end result that you could be looking at with this carbon capture.
Yes, sir.
So I'm glad both of y'all came and spoke up. That's my piece. I think everybody knows where I stand on it. So I'm glad you said what you said, because I was going to touch on some of those things.
And one last final thing, LSU, their department there is they're going around saying, it's safe, it's safe, it's safe, but
No.
it's never been done before. That's the thing. They're comparing it, these tier 5 and tier 6 wells, to enhanced oil recovery, which is tier 2. That's been done. This is brand new. This has not been done. Large scale
comparing it to what?
storage. Pardon?
What they're comparing it to?
EOR, enhanced oil recovery, because it's been labeled the same. The terminology.
Word salad.
It's a word salad. Thank you. So it's a bipartisan stance here. We have to end these 45Q tax credits, and this all goes away. We get back to traditional oil and gas. They're going to cut timber down in Louisiana. It's a $3 billion industry, and they want to burn it to make a biofuel because the Swedes want to buy a biofuel for their shipping. That's in Sin law. The DAC facility in Shreveport. We want to help our loggers and help our state, but we just can't be the dumping ground for this. We're talking, this has been fighting. We've gone to Iowa, South Dakota, Illinois. They have 2 tier 6 sites in Decatur, Illinois, and I passed right through there because my family lives in southern Indiana too. I'm a Dubrock from Parish, but my mother's from Indiana. My grandfather came down in the oil industry. Those are the only 2 tier 6 test sites and wells in North America, and both of them are leaking. The Illinois governor has shut it down, has said we're not going to do that because our aquifer is too much at risk for that.
That should speak volumes right there.
And he's
Right there.
yes, look at the governor of Illinois' record. And I want to please ask the council and bring their attention to what's called the pipeline deception on YouTube. It's called the pipeline deception. And RFK Jr. Narrates this, and you will see the farmers in Iowa have been fighting this, and the South Dakota farmers and ranchers. I'm worried about our farming industry because if this hits our water aquifers, because LSU, I'm gonna say it because Greg Upton goes on record, we've asked them multiple times, where does it go side to side? Where does it stop? They can't tell you. they're going to drill below our water aquifers. But if it comes up, and they're hoping the rock will cap it and then it'll solidify and then it'll harden with the rock and it'll stay below our aquifers. That's all they can tell us. Well, if you take that chemical composition and you add H2O to it, it turns to carbonic acid. So, I've talked to the Sartasha, Mississippi fire chief. This stuff that leaks is liquefied through a pipeline. If it cracks and hubs through a rain event, it shifts. Their ambulances and their engines are combustible engines. If you go through a dense fog area of a CO2 leak, your engine is shut down. They can't run. So, thank you for your time. I would love to talk to you for about an hour about this topic.
Mr. Alexander, you have a question real quick?
Yes, sir. I know you mentioned day a few times.
Pardon?
You mentioned day, THUY, day. Well, what's the name of the company?
So you're talking about NG3? They gave the award they talk about economic development, right? So NG3 gave the contract to Lariat Energy out of Vexus, Texas. So it's not even a Louisiana company that's been awarded the contract. He's under deposition and oath saying this back in the fall of 2005. So they want to say, we're going to grow, we're going to give jobs to Louisiana. Well, we have pipeline welders here, but that company, Lariat Energy out of Vexus, Texas, they clear the right-of-ways, they maintain the right-of-ways, they weld the pipelines, and they do everything. So how is that helping Louisiana citizens, right?
Yep.
So if it's coming, award contracts to Louisiana companies. But also, I don't agree with the 45Q tax credits. I'm sorry.
Are you saying the company is from Texas?
Yes, sir. They've already awarded the contracts in Southwest Louisiana to companies in Texas. They are under deposition in oath. It's on in recording. Apologize, I don't have that date handy, but you can look into that and look up Lariat Energy, and they're out of Vexus, Texas. Not even Louisiana jobs.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Y'all have a blessed evening.
You too.
Item 8, consider the adoption of a resolution authorizing and directing the parish president to execute for and on behalf of the St. Martin Parish Government a certificate of substantial completion pertaining to the Boxcar Road, roadside stabilization and road repairs project, St. Martin Parish, Louisiana. Item 9, consider the adoption of a resolution authorizing Parish President Pete Delcom to execute change order number 2 in the amount of $1,000 increase and an 8-day contract time extension for the Henderson Water Level Control Structure Repairs Project by Reliant Industrial Solutions, LLC.
Mr. Delcom?
Yeah, they are demobilizing the job site. The project is complete and it'll right at budget, maybe a little bit under budget, but it was right on budget. I will bring pictures and we'll be able to show this at the next council meeting. Very pleased with the result of this project.
Thank you.
Item 10, consider the adoption of a resolution committing the required local match for the expansion and renovation of the Central Office Complex Capital Outlay Project.
Mr. Delcom?
This is the outlay project, the annex, and this is just a matter of we have to be able to show to FP&C that we have the monies available for the match.
We hadn't did this before? We hadn't previously done this?
Well, this is a brand-new project. When the other project, the original project does not exist. So this came back and we started from scratch. So this is the culmination of the second project.
Any questions?
Item 11, consider the adoption of a resolution proclaiming the week of April 19th through 25th, 2026 as National Library Week.
This is done annually.
Item 12, consider the adoption of a resolution proclaiming the week of April 6th through 10th, 2026 as National Community Development Week.
This is done annually.
Item 13, consider the adoption of a resolution proclaiming the month of April 2026 as Fair Housing Month.
This is also done annually.
Item 15, Parish President's Report.
To go over these very quickly, we have the projects that are on the board. Cypress Bayou Coulee LaSalle. We are presently addressing the landowners to be able to get the servitudes needed to continue the project. Alcide Bonaire, that is still under the Corps' umbrella, waiting for answers from the Corps. Petroleum Parkway, we are in the process of finalizing this project. There, through the punch items, is just the last items to put some culmination to this project. Spanish Trail Industrial Park, we're actually, they've completed the drainage on half. They're doing the other half. They have poured concrete. It is moving along as anticipated. Jodet Canal improvements, we are in the process of, they have started the project, and they had started in the lead Champagne, Caprita Road area coming back towards Highway 96. Once they've completed and they're at that phase one completion, they will begin the grubbing and the actual continuation of the project. The sales tax one, the roads, there is a listing of roads I gave you. Stevensville has been complete. Ches Broussard Road, the patching is complete. They're getting ready to start the milling. Burton Olivier, they're laying asphalt as we speak. And then you have the listing of additional roads that will be taking place over the next 6 months. Any questions on any of the projects?
Jean-Baptiste?
With the road project, is the Seba Road gonna be considered part of the 25 road projects, or we're looking at?
Well, actually, and I addressed this with Ms. Tangi, she had said that we had gotten the funding from Mr. Marcus. The project is a $460,000 project. Mr. Marcus had obtained $175,000. Now, the project is 25% St. Martin Parish, 75% St. Martinville. We can find the $125,000 in parish funds to take care of our portion. The city of St. Martinville would need to come up with another $175,000 to complete their portion. I talked to Ms. Tangi before the meeting, impressing upon her the numbers, and she said that she had a plan. She was going to get back with Mr. Marcus, possibly in the upcoming legislation, getting additional funding for the DOTD. I don't know. Ms. Tangi left, and we weren't able to talk about this after the meeting. But we're in the process of. Yes, ma'am.
So if we move forward, then this would be considered part of the 25 road project, or is it gonna roll into the 26?
Well, I mean, we're not even to that point. I mean, if I don't get another $175,000 from St. Martinville or from Marcus Bryant, it's a moot point until we obtain that money.
Okay.
You know, if we do obtain it, we would need, again, it's not on the listing that we have contracted with this contractor. I would think it would be put on next year's agenda, to be quite honest with you. It's, we're moving along and contracted with the roads that we had agreed upon. So that being said, I would, realistically, it would probably be put on the next year's budget.
I was just wondering too, because I know there was talk about an intergovernmental agreement with the state and the city, so I didn't know how that fall, if that's gonna be kind of pushed back.
We never got the proper numbers and funding to even sit down and attempt to put an intergovernmental agreement. Got to get the funding before we put the paperwork involved.
Okay.
Item 16, council discussion or comment.
District 1? District 2?
Just want to say, Mr. Delcom had talked about the project in the Spanish Lake Industrial. They shifted the entrance to be able to access it, and I was able to pass on the concrete side, and it's coming out really, really good. So this is going to be a project, I think, in the long run, the businesses as well as the community are going to enjoy that 92, and that extension has been done. So I'm real pleased with the work thus far.
District 3 is not here, District 4?
Yeah, I'm glad to see the progress on the Joe Bag Phase 2. It's looking good from where I could see.
You know,
Very pleased, got a lot of compliments, and people are very happy in the area.
I know it's kind of frustrating, but in these wetland areas and so forth, any kind of waterway, we need Corps permitting and permission. I know we've been delayed with the Alcide Bonaire project. It is what it is. It's the Corps of Engineers, it's government, and it is what it is. It's gonna happen. Alcide Bonaire is gonna happen. We just have to be patient with it.
Very pleased.
District 6?
Yes. Mr. President, it was brought to my attention very recently, as of today, that you have approached some people about having some additional funding, 700,000 plus, to potentially disperse for a service road or just some extra additional funding. Can you elaborate on where that funding comes from? And
Unbeknownst to us or to anyone.
hold on. Can you elaborate? Yeah, that's fine. Where this funding comes from, and when are we going to discuss when are we going to discuss this as a council as far as how those funds need to be or should be spent, and the most, fiscal responsible way to spend them?
Well, in the first place, the funding is not in our hands. It was brought to our attention about a week ago from Chris Halftek with FP&C. As we are all well aware, there was monies in the I-10 service road, $1 million of which was spent on the 92-1 Cade project, the state project, a road project that was completed by the state. The $1 million made up our match. The additional $1 million was taken and will be put on the clerk of courts building that is we're presently looking at design and so forth. This money was brought to our attention, like I said, a week ago, and it is not in our possession. They said that there was additional money in the service road I-10 project that had been closed out. In fact, after the $2 million was taken and obligated, for all intents and purposes, that project was dead. And Mr. Halftek brought to our attention a week ago that there was a possibility of $685,000 that may be available. However, in the event that it goes to the legislature in the next month, it will be swept up. So during that time, over the last week, we have been talking to Mr. Richard Minville to see possible projects that could be, the FP&C would accept to be able to use that money in St. Martin Parish. We have 3 present projects. However, he said that it would be best and easiest if it was a road project, and second, if it was an I-10 service road project. Now, as we all know, we have no I-10 service road project to speak that's dead in the water. However, with Ms. Jennifer, we were brought to the attention that if you take the Reese Street extension at the interstate and take a left, there is a small service road a couple of hundred yards. And the state, through a project that Governor Landry is trying to put together, may have monies to be able to take care of that small portion of the road. So this was brought to my attention yesterday. So that being said, I said, well, if we have $685,000 and FP&C wants a road project, and they want a service road on the interstate, this may be a possibility that the monies could be spent there in Brobridge. I contacted Ms. Sarah Boudreau today after lunch with the governor's office to see if there was a possibility that from her position, she could take the information and see if this is a viable project that can be done. So, first of all, we do not have the money in hand. And second of all, whatever is to be done needs FP&C approval. And we are in the very, talking with Richard Minville with our capital outlay projects and with the governor's office. So, that being said, I know it's a lot. I know a lot of this has happened over the last day to 2 days, today being Tuesday, and that's where I'm at with it.
Now, when you say the funding has to be spent, it's on an I-10 project in general, like a service road project, or along the I-10 corridor, just?
The original project, as we all know, was for the service road of Interstate 10. And that being said, when they repurpose these funds, they would prefer if the repurposed money is put back into the exact same type of project that was done before. And as we had no other service road I-10 projects on to date, this thing came up over the last few days, and I thought it would at least take a look at from the governor's office to inclusively put it into the project that they have on the books to where we don't lose it, and it would be a win-win for the Brobridge area in opening up, because it goes from Reese Street, it goes about a mile to the bayou, and then it stops. The bayou stops it. So you have a 1-mile project that is logistically capable of taking care of this, and that's where we were going with it.
And I beg your pardon, was the deadline for allocating these funds or potentially allocating the funds?
Well, the legislature goes back into session, I think, March 9th. And FP&C said if we don't use it or find a viable project, it will be swept up.
So basically, that same conversation we had a few weeks after you took office, when we went to Baton Rouge, because we were under the impression that the governor was gonna sweep up most of the money that had been sitting there for a long time to disperse it, to use it for other projects. At that time, we didn't have a project on the book. So what we did is we worked with the Baton Rouge, the people over there, Senator Miguez, and we came up with the decision that we would take the money and we would put the money on the Smeeta Road that the state was doing, $1 million.
I just said thanks.
Yeah, so, and then we had also said that, and because we were gonna use the money that was for the parish, well, it was that allocated for a I-10 study, not a I-10 project, it was a I-10 study, that's all it was, which would probably be in excess of over $50 million to build a road, which we don't have. We're struggling to get $30 million from the state right now to build a jail that we need desperately, really, really bad. So when we discussed that, in that conversation, they asked us, they said, do you have a road in St. Martin Parish that would be equivalent to what we're gonna spend if we take it and put it on a state project? And if you turn it in next year on capital outlay, we could always reimburse it on a parish road. And we said, yes, Section 28 road, $2 million. So if there's available funding there, we gotta come up next year with $2 million to do Section 28 road, which is about half our budget on our road projects. I would much rather see that money allocated to Section 28 road, which it was agreed upon when we went to Baton Rouge. That's what we're gonna try to put the money on in the second year. So I would think before we start, because my understanding is I think that road is being funded already by that project to be able to I think there's funding for that project. So I think the additional funding you would put would stop from where the road stops to the bayou, which there isn't anything there right now. There's people that travel Section 28 road every day. That road's in dire need, and it's gonna eat up half our budget next year. I think if we can work on, with FP&C to get some money to put for a road project that's left over from that I-10 study, I would suggest that we definitely look at put that money on Section 28 road for next year. Mr. Alexander?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The service road that you just mentioned about, is that on the corner of Grand Point Road and Melvin Dupie Road?
No, this is leaving Bro Bridge on Reese Street before you get to the interstate, taking a left. There's a small,
Behind the Waffle House.
behind the Waffle
Yeah,
House.
but they've been talking about this for years.
Well, there's a couple of hundred yards of pre-existing asphalt and looking to possibly open up the additional 3/4 of a mile, so to speak, to the bayou.
But I believe they started running some lines already, right?
That I don't know, Mr.
I think I
Alexander.
saw them running some lines, but they stopped? Okay. Okay, but that was my only question. I thought it was by Grand Point and Melvin Dupie. That's what I thought it was. So it's not there. Reach Street going towards Henderson.
No, sir.
It's not going towards Henderson?
No, sir.
Going toward Lafayette.
Towards Lafayette.
Going towards left? Oh, sorry, the opposite do it.
By the old, it's passes in front of the old campground.
But I know what he had now. I thought it was going, because they told me that it was going towards Henderson on the left-hand side on I-10, going I-10 east.
That was the original intention with the service road and the monies that would be
That's the
available.
one I'm talking about.
However, that's not what we're talking about here.
Okay.
Mr. Melisson?
For that road to potentially continue towards Bayou Teche. And I beg your pardon here, and maybe you can answer this too. Does the parish own that property? Or would we be able to put a road on that property if the parish doesn't own the property? Again, I genuinely don't know.
It's privately owned,
Privately owned.
and there is a way to do that. I mean, the state is, it's not through DOT, it's through the new, what's it called, the Department of.
Sorry, Jen, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
That's fine. It's not a DOTD project. I called DOTD to get some more information about it, and they said that's not on our list. But let us do some digging. Come to find out, it's through this new department that was established last year, the Louisiana Department of Highway Construction.
Mm-hmm, I know what you're talking about.
And the intent of that new department is to build bridges and roads in rural parishes. So that's all the information I have on it right now. But it is on their list of projects to get done, and it is funded. So
But that's
that's
beyond the road, I'm gonna call it the campground road.
Right.
Beyond the campground road, ground road, that's private property still?
Yeah, it's owned by one land.
Landowner, okay. Okay, thank you. I'm good.
Any other questions? No? District 7? You good? District 8? Okay,
Asked
District
them
8?
all already.
District 9?
I'm good, thank you.
We good?
Item 17, completed constituents' work order per request forms for January 2026 were emailed to you. 18, reports, statements of revenues and expenditures and balance sheet for January 2026 was emailed to you. 19, executive session. Council to enter executive session to discuss the following litigation: St. Martin Parish Government versus Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government, bearing number 91813F of the docket of the 16th Judicial District Court in and for St. Martin Parish, Louisiana.
I need a motion and a second to end the executive session. I have a motion by Mr. Melisson, second by Ms. Jean-Baptiste. Call for the vote. Mr. Corville. All right.